morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. Had a great weekend. Put a 5 in the chat if you had a good weekend. If you had a good weekend, man, it was nice this weekend. We're just coming off of spring break and back to the normal routine today. Back to the normal routine. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. My name is Chad Free, and I am just outside of Greenville, South Carolina, and I am a wealth strategist. And I believe that true wealth is an abundance of anything that you value. I believe that true wealth is built from the inside out, and just when you can be present and be aware of the blessings around you, I think that's a good day. That's a good way to live. And anyway, I'm very passionate about what I do. So hope everybody's doing good this morning. Let's start out with our affirmation, if we could. Affirmation. We are all going to come off of mute on the count of 3, and we're going to say this together if you choose to. If you choose to. All right. 1, 2, 3.
I am created on purpose for a purpose. You are created on purpose.
Purpose. I heard that. I think that was Brock. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Wait till your turn tomorrow, Brock. All right. I'm just kidding. So, hope everybody's doing good today. My printer was not working this morning. That's okay. We can figure things out. But I want to talk to you about some things. I always talk about sort of your next step. I always talk about next step because I believe that everybody has a next step in their life to become better. Everybody can become better. And even the best can still become better. They all have a next step. We all have a next step. So I want to talk to you because you all are very, very high performers, and you have to be to be successful in these businesses that you got to go out and kill what you eat, right? Commission based, we got to go get it. We got to get after it. And a lot of times, sometimes we're like, goodness gracious, I'm not where I want to be, but you need to start thinking about, hey, thank God I'm not where I used to be. And so I want to talk to you about, at some point, people start achieving success that they've never experienced before. And success stops feeling like the end, the destination. And you look back and you realize, man, I've actually built something here. You start seeing, I've talked to you about this before, you start seeing and realizing that your mindset is a lot further along than some of the people that you've hung out with and the groups that you've been a part of. And that's a wonderful thing. It really is. And instead of chasing the next thing, you start standing kind of where you are right now. And you start stepping into that. So I want to ask you right now, how many of you feel like you've experienced that before? Your mindset has advanced. You feel like you have accelerated a bit. You've taken some next steps. You hadn't arrived. I don't think anybody in this group will say, yeah, I've arrived. You wouldn't be on this call if you've arrived, right? But we all are on this journey. And I think sometimes we start realizing again, man, I've come a long way. I've come a long way. And that's where I think we need to really, really, really stop and be grateful. Be grateful. For me, I couldn't do it outside of the grace of God. Period. Yielding to what he has in my life and not me making my own plan and then, hoping he blesses it. I I don't ever want to go back to that mindset or that way of living, because I realize the journey that I'm on. All right. So, with that being said, a new feeling starts to show up. And I don't know if you feel this, but people are watching, people are listening. Um, and I would say people might even be being impacted by you. So now we're under the microscope a bit, right? So do you continue to play the same game, or do you step into that next step, which is bigger? Success alone feels empty. Listen, if you know my story, I talked about how I've climbed a lot of ladders, but they were against the wrong building. I've had a lot of success, but I was a successful loser, right? So I've had companies, grown them, and there always was some kind of obstacle that it just didn't work out. Something just was unfulfilled. I worked with a lot of multimillionaires. I had a concierge company years and years and years and years ago before I got into the financial business. And I took care of people's second and third homes in this prominent golf community over here in the Carolinas. And I really learned a lot about their mindset. And I sat back and I watched them. And they had a lot of success, but if I had to guess, they were probably empty inside. There were a few, not all of them. There were a few that were truly, um, enjoyable to talk to and be around. But some of them, they just were not happy at all. They were not happy at all. So success alone eventually will start feeling empty. So what fills that gap? It's not just your knowledge and opportunities and influence. You've now been given something. You've now been given something. You're starting to experience that success. Now, how can you steward it? Steward it to serve others and truly, I believe that's why we're here, is to make an impact on others. I believe, that's my opinion, that's my belief, is that we were created to make an impact and, quite frankly, point people to God. That's my belief, and I believe it wholeheartedly. But you move from achievement driven to assignment driven. And when that happens, I believe things really start to multiply. And it's like you start going up, but then when you get to that point, it's almost like you explode. I'm not saying that, you're just going to have a perfect life. I'm not saying that at all, but you're going to have to be very conscious on how you steward your influence, your opportunities, money. If you started making money, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not about how successful you are. It's more of how do you show up now that you have that. So I'll ask you a question. Have you gotten to the point, or have you ever thought about, are you still chasing results, or are you living in the responsibility that you with the success that you've been given? I think we hustle till we get to that certain point, and then just because it finally pays off, but we never see it. Then when we see it, start experiencing it, sometimes we think, okay, well, this is good, I'm gonna keep on going. What's next? And there's no issues with that whatsoever. But I'm just saying, let's be responsible with what we have, because sometimes we won't get more if we don't know how to manage what we have and be a good steward of it. So because you live like what matters beyond you, that's when everything starts to change. I truly believe that. That's when your life moves from success to significance. So, how anybody on here have anything that they want to share to that? Have you gotten to a point where you feel like you struggled, or hustled, or you was on that hamster wheel or whatever, and you look back and you see, wow, I've come pretty far here? Has anybody ever got to that point? Anybody want to hop off and share with me? Christian, I see you shaking your head.
Hey,
Jackie?
I feel like I'm getting to that point. Especially like just working with Brock and everybody in this group. I mean, the first 6 months of working with Brock, I sold over 5 million, and I'm going to a closing now. I'm just going. So I remember 3-4 years ago when I started, just being like, I wish I could be at that point, and I feel like I'm definitely getting better. I have a ways to go still, but I'm definitely improving every day. So, and thanks to
That's
all of you
awesome.
guys.
Yeah, it takes a tribe, it takes a community. It's not just about knowledge and skill, it's about purpose and relationships and community. It really, really, really is.
Y'all,
Um,
Jackie is my muse because of this, just so you know. That's why I'm here.
nice.
That
Excellent.
community. Yep.
That's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let me ask a different question. And when I ask this question, I don't want you to think that you got to give a. It's not that you're having to be cocky or whatever, but have you ever experienced those people that you have hung out with and been a part of, and that you ran with so much, so much, so much, and then all of a sudden you see your way of thinking is just way, 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 way up here, like so far advanced? How do you feel about those people? Like, this is just an open discussion. How do you feel about those people? What I'm saying is, do you want to talk to them and say, hey, let me just tell you, I'd like for you to, open your mind, expand your mind. Do you want to help them like that? Not that you don't want to help them or you do want to help them, but how does that make you feel when you start getting around those people? Bethany, talk to us.
I think for me, it all goes back to where everyone's journey is. So I had experienced this recently, and especially in the past month, when I'm just really been able to notice that some of the connections that I have, they're totally, totally out of alignment. Because the past 4 years, while I've been doing life, I've also still been growing, or why life has been lifing. And you can notice when you start to engage with certain people or have communication, you're just like totally lost in the conversation because your mindset's not even there anymore. Or what they've harped on or what they've talked about all the time, you're so far removed because it's like they are stuck in this little box, but your vision and what you see is so far greater. So I think it's very important, personally, who has your ear, because whoever has your ear more than likely has your destiny. So I definitely believe and do agree with you based on what you stated this morning. Absolutely. And I still have a long ways to go, but hey, that's what this is.
So Bethany, if you don't mind, let me ask you a question. And I may be asking this question because I'm here right now. Like, what do you say to these people, especially when you care about them so much, or you like them, or you just care for them? They've been a part of your life, whatever. Does it? Are you ever convicted about wanting to talk to them about kind of where your journey is and how they can kind of open their mind as well, or what does that look like to you?
Sir, you try to do that for 3 years and you don't do that anymore because you're going to stay on that hamster wheel. Some will, some won't. so what? You have to rise above with emotional intelligence. If you don't, and you are working with a new mindset, a new skill set, something that you want to run with for your legacy, for your boys. With that being stated, I don't want to change somebody else because I can only control my controllables. So if it's someone bringing me negativity, then I'm going to say, hold up, is that in my control? Is that in your control? If not, all we can do is surrender it. And it also is me creating distance from the ones that don't even, y'all. There is someone that I have DNA connected to very strongly, and I have to put boundaries surrounding that relationship. Because if there's negativity, or that, like Brock has stated before, they're going to always view you in a certain limelight. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. It means that that is where they are in their journey. So I'm not going to look at it as being mad at them. That takes the emotions out of it. I'm going to look at, this is where I am along my journey. This is where they are along their journey. They're not wrong. I'm not right. It's just, this is emotional intelligence, and we just don't align anymore.
Right. And I think if you continue to go on that trajectory, then if they're attracted and they want to know how you got there and they come to you, now that is a controllable where it's your responsibility to share with them. So yeah, that's good. That's good. And for me, I believe that, if I'm supposed to talk to somebody, God will impress it on me, and I'll know where that is. It gets down in your gut and you can't even not, ignore that. So anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I really believe that, I think that we all start achieving some of that success that we've worked for. We always need to take inventory and check where we're at. Hey, do a little audit where we're at. Now, how can we be a steward? How can we serve others? How can we give? How can we give? Who helped you? Who put their hand out to you? How can you do the same? How can you do the same? It's one thing to receive, but we also need to have some sort of output, whether we're mentoring people, serving people, somebody in need, reach out and encourage them, whatever. But success is nothing without significance. Success alone can cause emptiness. So that's literally what my whole mission is. You have to have a mindset revolution before you can experience a money revolution. And just with those two things, you might be a whole lot further than you were. But with those two things, that's where a wealth revolution truly, truly takes place. And that true wealth, again, is built from the inside out. That's that fulfillment. That's where I use a combinational approach in my planning, in my mission, in my coaching, all of that. It's a combinational approach. It's not just money, success. No, it's how do you walk that out and experience abundance and fulfillment and attract and stop chasing, right? And when I say attract, I'm telling you, attract some pretty nice partnerships and nice network that maybe you never thought you could be a part of. When you're just being you. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. Don't try to fake it till you make it. I've said this before, but I used to joke around about that. Like, man, I'm just trying to be like you. No, I'm just, and we cut up like that. Or I'm just faking it till I make it. You know what I mean? I'm just faking it till I make it. I don't know. Don't do that. Don't fake it till you make it. Be you and start becoming, like the shirt that Brock has put out. Start becoming and reach the full potential that God gave you. So that's my message to you. I know it's a bit short, but that truly is my message to you. What are you going to do with this success now that you've achieved? Do you keep on going, or do you start stewarding that in a manner to where you can have impact and significance? Anybody else want to say anything? Anybody got any words for me this morning? Anybody? Anybody?
I'll say something.
Yes, say something there, Christian.
I think that the stewarding and the influence can be derived or can come from the success that we have. You know, when people are talking about success, it's usually talking about providing a product or a service to people. And that in and of itself can be a good influence. And like you, Chad, right? Talking about people getting their finances right, and helping them to do that. And, you know, that alone is massively influential in people's lives. The product itself can be the influence, I guess is what I'm getting at.
You're right. Yep. You're right. Thank you, Christian.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Denise. I'm from New York, Brooklyn, New York. And I am, I was listening to you speak, and I said, you know what, that makes a whole lot of sense what you're talking about, because, we can get caught up in this business with just trying to achieve and have more, and then we got to pause and really think, what's the reason behind it? What's the assignment? What's the purpose? And I find myself getting burnt out because I'm trying to, figure things out. But then I have to sit back and think and say, wait, what exactly am I doing? Like, what is the reason why I'm calling this prospect or this lead? Am I trying to just get a listing, or am I really trying to help them, help their situation? So, and that's something that I think will help a lot when it comes to mindset and perspective. Because it can get competitive at times when we start to wonder, and then the mind starts to think, well, am I doing the right thing? Is it, and then different things start to come at us. But the main point, like you said, is about the assignment, and like you said, pointing people to God, and whatever spiritual level you're on. So I appreciate you sharing that. That really had me think, because I just feel like I've been chasing and I'm getting burnt out. So, I definitely have to think about, okay, how can I help this individual in their situation, or how can I help somebody have a better outcome of this, see things differently. So I just want to say thank you for, sharing that information this morning.
Thank you, Denise. You just encapsulated my whole mission, what you just said. It's about helping people literally get off the hamster wheel and start serving people. When you have that mindset revolution that you truly are here to impact somebody else, you start listening to understand that person. That, listen, you were created to serve a certain amount of people and certain types of people that come along your path, right? And so it is your responsibility to do just that. They were brought to you. Now serve them in a manner that truly helps them go from where they're at to where they're trying to go. Listen to understand them, build the relationship. And now it's there. It's not exhausting at all. It literally is, who can I serve today? Who am I going to be able to help today? What is my purpose today? Because purpose is not necessary. I say it all the time. It's not a destination. It's a daily walk in a direction of where God wants you to be. When you focus on your alignment, your assignment becomes very, very clear. But when you start truly, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if she's on here or not. Rosario is one of the best of the best of the best of just truly wanting to serve people. And I think she is growing her impact. I think she's helping a lot of people because she's not pushing, she's just serving. And she literally, hey, it's all about you. But you have to understand, this is where faith comes in. As a byproduct of serving those people that you were created to serve and that are come along your pathway, then truly you're going to be took care of, both internally and externally. Profit. Remember my true wealth building pyramid. When you pursue your purpose, let's put a verse to that. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Boom. That's when I feel like God will unlock the potential inside of you that some of us don't even know we have. And that's the gift. That gift is not learned, earned, or even deserved. But when you say, hey, here I am, I'm yours, I believe that's when he'll unlock that gift, that potential. Then you start becoming very present and aware of the blessings. Guess what? That is right here in front of you. There are acres of diamonds right here around us, right under our feet, that we can be serving and just being. But what do? Like I think Tim Story says, we become human doings. That's not what we are. We're human beings. And so we become present and aware. You're not throwing the ball thinking about the deal closing tomorrow. I'm talking to myself here. That was me in my life forever. Then you become profitable, both internally and externally. And guess what happens at the very top of that pyramid? There's a peace that you can't put a price tag on. And that right there is what it's all about. You can't jump all the way to peace and ignore all this down here. It's all about alignment with your assignment, being a good steward with what you've been given. And that's it. So guys, I hope this hit the right people today. I hope you got something out of it. And so anybody else have anything to say before we wrap up here? It's 8:43. We got 2 more minutes. Hope everybody liked that or enjoyed that or learned something from that. Anybody?
I will add you asked, it was your second question of your environment and the different rooms that you might be in now and your different mindset of where you've been growing. There's a really famous video by Bishop Jakes, TD Jakes, if you go look at this. And I think, Chad, what you said there was very, very important. Bishop Jakes talks about how when we meet new people, family, friends, acquaintances, it doesn't matter who, we both arrive at the same step. So if you visualize it, we both arrive at the same step. And how many of us during the holiday season, I typically talk about this, but during the holiday season, or maybe the 4th of July, because we get together like once a year with family, friends, whoever it might be, but on occasion you gather with these people and they will say to you, how you doing? And you hear the saying, another day, another dollar, same old, just getting by. And they tell this to you and you're just like, ooh, damn, really? Because when they ask you the same question, it's flipped. And you're like, well, and you start telling them all your growth. And what happens is you continue to climb up the stairs. Yet while they remain on the same stair, they now have to look up to talk to you. And they don't like that. And so what happens is they start to not talk to you. And I had that transition happen to me when I left my drinking buddies and friends and everything else. And when I started to do things differently and I started to have different discipline and getting up early and all this stuff, they didn't like that. And it happened even in my family. There's certain people that they don't invite me to things anymore because I don't know if it's the situation, but our environments change, and it's okay because when you're growing, like Chad said, the law of attraction takes place, and you start attracting like-minded people. And when you get into those rooms, telling y'all, things really start to take shape. And then that's when jealousy comes in. And then you got to be able to have thick skin and to be able to understand, to absorb those conversations and filter them, because that is how God is growing you. And you're just nurturing into that water, that seed, and everything else that God has created for you. So, Chad, that was the first thing I thought of when you were saying that. I was like, oh, the Bishop Jakes of exactly being changing your environment, changing, getting in different rooms changes your life. So I really love that. Was really resonated with me.
Well, thank you, Brock. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys. I hope y'all have a great day today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and go out there and serve somebody. Be significant today, and also back in the morning at 8:15 right here for Brock the Rock. Appreciate y'all. Everybody take care. You are created on purpose for a purpose. Gone.